Here's one thing about guys. You don't know as much as you think you do. You guys are trapped in your egos, thinking that if you convince yourself that you're more than you are, you convince yourself that you have more than you are, you convince yourself that you know more than you know, then you can't make as much progress in life. You need to acknowledge that you're behind. You need to acknowledge that you could be better. You need to acknowledge that you could know more. You need to acknowledge all these things. You need to acknowledge your flaws. You need to acknowledge what's wrong with you. How do you expect to fix yourself? If you feel bad about yourself, you don't feel like you're in the greatest spot that you could be, how do you expect to fix yourself if you don't look inside yourself and try and fix yourself? You need to know what's wrong with you. You need to acknowledge what's wrong with you. You need to have the confidence. You need to have the humility to know what's wrong with you. To look inside, look outside, look at yourself in the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror and know what's wrong with you. Figure it out. Write it down. Get a list right now. 10 things. 10 things I want to improve. 10 things that I know I could do better at. Make it specific too. Make it very specific, because it's a lot harder to improve something if you don't know exactly what you're improving. It can't be so broad, like I need to be more confident. Exactly what do you need to be more confident at? It can't be broad like I need to learn more. What do you need to learn about? What are you behind in? What are you not learning about? Just have some be humble and notice that you know nothing. You know how many things to know there are? Humans in general, we know nothing. Humans in general know nothing. We can't be sure about shit. So at least notice that you know nothing compared to everybody and start learning. Start learning. Start trying to gain more knowledge. Stop thinking you're good enough. Stop thinking you're good enough. Have the confidence in what you have, but stop thinking you're good enough. Stop protecting yourself. You've built these mental barriers to protect your ego, to protect your mood, because you think you're gonna fall apart if you realize what's wrong with you. You think it's gonna hurt your confidence. You think it's gonna hurt you, but it's hurting you to have that ego. It's hurting you to have those thoughts that you're good enough, that you are at your peak form. You're never at your peak form. There's always something you can make better. Always. There's always something you can make better. There's always something you can improve. There's always something you can improve. It's impossible to be perfect. I've talked about it before. There's no such thing as perfect. You can just only aim to getting better. And there's always something to get better at. You just need to notice that. What do you want to get better at? What do you want to improve? What do you think you're meant for? That's what you need to ask yourself. You need to stop thinking that it's okay where you're at, that you're okay where you're at, that you're gonna settle. You're not gonna settle. You're better than that. You're better than one who settles. You're better than to be one who settles. You're not gonna settle. You're gonna figure out who you are. You're gonna figure out what you need to get better at. You need to figure out your flaws. Stop focusing on the things that are right with you, because that only makes you less confident, because you're like, wow, there's a lot of things that I'm good at, but there's all these things that I'm bad at that I'm avoiding. Take that stuff head on. That will make you more confident, because you're like, oh shit, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually doing the things that scare me. I'm actually doing these things that I'm bad at, but I'm actually doing them, and now I'm getting better at them, and now I'm less flawed of a person. And there's always more. It makes you confident. You see the world. You see more of the world. You're like, there's so much out there to do. There's so much out there to get better at. There's so much out there to learn. You need to learn. You need to get better. You need to improve. You need to figure out what you need to get better at. You need to figure it out. Figure out who you are. Figure out what you want to get better at. Figure out what your flaws are. Figure out what your flaws are. Write it down. Like I said, write it down. And find ways that you can get better at all those things. Find a way. Think of it. Stop being so overconfident in who you are. Stop being arrogant. Stop being overconfident. It's false confidence. True confidence is being humble. True confidence is knowing that you don't know everything and knowing that you're a hard worker. Confidence is not what you are. Confidence is how hard you work. So work harder. Notice that you're not as good as you think you are. Notice what you're bad at and get better at that stuff that you're bad at. And I promise you that that will help you in life. I promise you it will help you in life. Not always focusing on the good. You need to focus on what you're bad at and get better at what you're bad at. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Get better at what you're bad at. Figure out what you're bad at. Get better at it. I'll see you guys tomorrow.